Today is the day to finally track my money again. Wait, so it says here that I have an Audible subscription? I don't know anything about that. It might seem like I love finances and I love taking care of my money, and I do, but there are some tasks that are still a little tedious and I sometimes really procrastinate on them. So what I like to do is I like to fill out a monthly overview and just look at where my money went. So this is what it looks like for an entire year. So I have every single month, 6 month here, 6 month there, and at the end of the year I have a nice overview, and that's what I like to keep it at. I haven't filled that overview out for a long time. Let's look at how long it has been. It's been so long I can't even find it. So I found it, and it's worse than I thought it would be. So I thought I did not fill out July to December, obviously. I knew that, but what I didn't know, that I didn't fill out April to June either. Okay, that's a lot more work than I expected, but we can do it. I didn't really like the old sheet and I wanted to start with a blank page, so I decided to remake it. Well, I'm trying to get cute shots here and my head is in the way. Perfect. Okay, well, so that's what I was doing here, creating the sheet again, so we have something to work with. It didn't take a long time, and if you're wondering why I do it manually instead of just printing it out, I really like to do these kind of things. Let me take you through it and explain why it shows this setup and what I mean by the categories. I do always want to have my income on top of there. I started that when I was still working as a flight attendant, because as a flight attendant your income changes every single month. That's why I wanted to just have it up there to see what I actually earned in that month. And I mean, if you have your own business, you also know what it's like to not have a steady income. At the moment, I actually do have that. I just like to keep it up there again for reference. And then the expenses. So I have my rent there. It also includes the utilities, so it's both of that. Then I have my insurance costs, which are actually nothing except for the personal liability insurance. In Germany, your healthcare automatically gets withdrawn from your income. So what I put up there as my income already excludes taxes and excludes my healthcare costs. Then I have my phone bill and I have my job ticket. That's my public transportation card. So that is what I have to get every month to get to work and back. And any other transportation cost will be down there. So the first 4 categories are my bills. That's what I have to pay every single month. So these 4 actually come out of my master account. And if you don't know what I mean by master account, last week I did a video on how to set up your financial system, how to set up your bank system using the 3 account method, which I highly recommend you go and watch. So I'll link it right here again. And then all of the other expenses that are underneath this line are expenses that change every month. And these are all coming out of my spending account. So this is all what I could if I wanted to save a little bit and spend less on certain categories. But these first 4, there's no way of changing anything about that. Okay, so we have groceries. So everything that I buy in a supermarket, then eating out whenever I eat at work, in a restaurant, or just buy a snack on the way. Then drugstore. Here in Germany we have the drugstores that sell everything from household items and some other things as personal care, beauty, transportation. So whenever I take a weekend trip or go visit my family. WG, that's my housemates. So whenever I buy something that's for all of us to use, I put it there. I could also put it under groceries, but I don't. Entertainment is self-explanatory. Hobbies the same. Gifts, also self-explanatory, and shopping for me is usually anything that I buy for myself, and other are just some miscellaneous things that don't really belong to any category. So there's that. To fill that out, I need my phone with my expense tracking app that I use. I need my laptop to check in my online banking again. I like to do it on my laptop instead of on my phone, because then I can have them both open simultaneously at the same time. And then I have my folder for my finance things. This includes my money goals, my saving plans, and then it also includes my 2022 money game plan, because I have decided to do a low spend year and to really focus on saving and investing. So that's what I'm doing, because I just started the new job this year. I earned significantly more than I did as a flight attendant, and I wanted to make sure I spend it wisely. Just to have an overview how I planned on distributing my money, I still have that here with me. So the very first thing I like to do is go through my wallet and check whether I have any more receipts in there, and then I put them in my expense tracker app. I know there are apps that do it all for you and that are automatic, but for me personally, I wanted to do it manually this year because I do want to save and invest a lot, and I thought if I manually have to track every single thing, I'm much more aware of how much I'm actually spending. I still found 2 receipts, so I'll check whether I have them in the app, and then I'll also go through my bank accounts and check whether there's any other expense that I haven't actually put down in here. I really recommend you go through your bank statement at the end of the month or every couple of months. As you see, I'm doing it now in October for the past 3-4 months. I remember doing it in June, so I only had to go through it from end of June till now. And I was just looking whether I could find any transaction or anything I paid for that I didn't really understand, something that looked odd to me. If I remembered, that's good, you can just keep on scrolling, but just check for any things that you don't remember getting. Wait, so it says here that I have an Audible subscription? I don't know anything about that. Okay, so I have been paying in September. Let's see if I have paid any more. I paid for it as well in August. Okay, so I guess that's why you have to do that, because you might be paying for stuff that you don't even know. So you should know about it in order to be able to cancel it. I'm getting really hungry. Let me get some food and then we'll figure out what or how long I have been paying Audible for. Okay, so I found out the following. I have been paying Audible for the past 4 months, and I don't think I ever signed up for that. That's not really true. I think I signed up for 1 month to download one of the books I wanted, but I forgot to cancel the membership. I have to do that now. Okay, great, that was it. So I did cancel the subscription now. I also wouldn't have found that out if I hadn't checked my bank accounts. So that's why I recommend just going through all the payments of the month. You don't have to do it as detailed as I did. I double checked all the inputs that I have in my expense app that I'm using. So that is all good to go. And actually we can take that now and just put it on our overview sheet and then see what we're dealing with. For my expenses, please have in mind that I live in Germany and the cost of living here is less expensive than in the US, for example. So these are my fixed expenses, and when we look at the rent, we see that it decreased by 3 euros. We got some new Wi-Fi and it's a bit cheaper than before. And I did have to buy some more phone data though in August, so that's why the phone bill is a lot higher there. And insurances, it's usually always the same amount except for July when I have to pay my yearly travel insurance. And my job ticket, so that is my public transportation, it's usually 162 euros a month, and my employer pays half of that. But in this summer 2022, Germany actually had a big offer going on with public transportation, give people the incentive to use public transportation more often. And for 9 euros, you could go anywhere except for using the long distance trains. So actually my job ticket decreased to 9 euros because that was the offer that was up there. It's very unusual, so I'm very happy to not have that cost these 3 months, but it will be back to 162 now. Okay, let's keep going with the other expenses. So these are the costs I had for July and August, and now you're probably asking yourself, how on earth did you make it? alive out of July, spending only 100 euros on food. I was on vacation in July until the beginning of August, so that cost is not yet put in there because I like to keep my travel separate. Obviously, traveling is always such a big expense, and I just want to have it separate. So for my vacation, I like to use this app called Travi Pocket just so that I have it in a separate app. And I usually take the categories flights, Airbnb or hotels, and then the rest. But for this particular one, I have decided to split it up a little bit further: car and gas, shopping, meals, and gifts. And I know I did a lot of shopping there. And if you've watched my low buy year, I actually have talked about how I wanted to have some exceptions, and I talked about keeping some of these exceptions for my vacation. So that's what it is. Okay, one more note. I usually use a separate credit card for my vacation than the one that I'm using at home. There's no real reason for it other than since I have another one, I'll just use that one for a vacation so I have everything in one place. So what I can do after the vacation, I will just go there, look at the total amount that I spent, I put that total amount in here, and I'm good to go. You know what I mean? That makes it very, very easy. It's a new day, as you can see, and it took me quite a bit the other day to finish what I had done, and then it was very dark outside. So let's go through the expenses together today. I won't go through every single one because I think that would be boring, but let me explain a few things. Let's start with two categories that I have been trying to be very intentional with because of my low spend year. I want to spend less this year, and these are two categories that have a lot of potential to save. So one of them is shopping and the other one is drugstore. So shopping, I'm very glad how that is working because in July I only spent 45 euros, in August 30, and nothing in September. And well, obviously some on vacation, but that is fine. That was planned for. If I think back to other years, I have definitely spent a lot more on shopping. So I'm very glad how that is working out. And then the second category is drugstore that I want to be more intentional with, because drugstore does not only include household items, but also makeup, skincare, beauty, all of that stuff. And we know it can be difficult to not buy tons of that stuff. So I've been trying, and actually I'm doing pretty good in that category too. In July, I think I also bought quite a bit for vacation, like those little travel size things. I don't really know what else there was in July that made it 66 euros. And September was higher again, and that is due to the fact that I needed new contact lenses, and they are always expensive. They're around 60 euros. So what I like to do, if one category is higher than usual and I just want to remember why and there was a reason for it, I will just write next to the number, I will write their contact lenses so I know. For most of the other categories, I don't want to be restraining myself too much, especially for groceries and eating out. And then some other categories like entertainment, hobbies, gifts, I really do not want to be limiting myself too much. And as you can see, I don't really spend a lot on there anyways. Entertainment maybe seems a little high, but it includes my Netflix, it includes my Audible subscription now that we found out that I have. In August, we also had a bachelorette party. That is all already included in the 120 euros. So actually that is decent. So I think that's everything that's interesting regarding the expenses. There hasn't really been any extraordinary expense in these past 3 months. So I would like to show you what I do with two expenses that I had in October. So I had a piano tuner come and tune my piano. That was 185 euros. And obviously that doesn't go into any category. I could put it under others. And that is an extraordinary expense because you don't have to tune your piano every year. It's maybe every 2 years. So that is that. And then I also went and got my hair cut and dyed. So that was 145 euros. And I maybe go every half a year or less. So for me, that's also a special expense, something irregular. So I like to just write it down separately so I know what these expenses were. If I were to put in one of the categories, then I would be wondering, why is that category so high? What did I do? So I just want to know where I spent my money on, and these big expenses, I will just write them down separately. What I forgot to mention, in September, I wrote down 35 next to my rent because, as you know already, we got new Wi-Fi and that was a one-time payment that is not going to come back, and I just forgot to put it in there, so I wrote it down next to the 424. There's one category we've skipped so far, and that is my income. I work as an accountant at Taylor House, as you can see there, and I will also write down any additional money that I have coming in. For example, I'm babysitting very irregularly, but sometimes. So for example, in September, there was some money that I got from there. I have also sold an item of my decluttered clothes on Vinted for €4 in July, but I still put it down. And I got my tax refund in July. So that's always great to have extra money coming in, and I will definitely put that down. This year it has been €318. Usually it's higher, but this year it has been 318. Okay, now we're getting to the probably most important part. That's the overview that I have at the bottom of my overview sheet. And it will show us how much we earned, how much we spent in total that month, and then how much we saved and how much we invested. I decided to not put down my income anymore because I already have it on the top of my sheet, but I will put down the rest. For my expenses, I'm actually taking my expenses, that's everything until that line right here. And then I will take my vacation and put them down separately. The reason for that is that the expenses should, for me, kind of stay the same over the month when you look at it at the end of the year. Obviously, there will be some changes from month to month, but at the end of the year, when you look at it in total, it should kind of be at the same level and not surpass my budget. And then vacation is separate because for me it's an extraordinary expense, and I'm actually also saving up for a vacation. I have a vacation fund, and when I do go on vacation, I take money out of that saving pot and then take that money to spend on vacation, and also some part of my regular spending money. So when I go on vacation, the money that I spent, some of it has already been paid for by my vacation fund. So that's why I like to keep it separate. So for July to September, I put down my expenses and also my vacation. For the Florida vacation, I decided to just take half of that money and allocate it to July and the other half to August to keep it simple. Now for savings and investments. That for me is the focus for this year. Experts recommend you invest and save around 20% of your after-tax income. Of course, in some cases that's not possible. When I was a flight attendant, there was no way I was able to save 20% of that salary. But with my new job, I make a lot more and I have not increased my standard of living. So I currently am able to save way more than 20%. So I'm taking advantage of that and actually using that money to build up a nice cushion for emergencies and for my retirement. And then also I have some saving goals. And currently I'm investing a little bit more than I anticipated because the market is very low and it's very cheap to buy into things right now. So I want to take advantage of the market. So my monthly savings plan that gets automatically invested is currently at $675. So I will write that down in September and October. But I noticed when I was going through my investment account that for July and August, I changed it up a little bit because of my vacation. So for savings, I have a savings amount that I want to achieve each month, but it depends because savings is the category that at the end of the month, if I have spent less than my budget was, then I can obviously allocate more towards savings than I planned. And in July, August, and also in September were my vacation months, so I spent a lot on there. So it's possible that for these 3 months, I will not achieve my savings goal, but that's fine. I was still investing and the vacation were planned for. I also will have to check how much money for my vacation is actually been paid for by my vacation fund, and then the rest will obviously have to be deducted from my income to see how much I can save. Okay, I will end this video right here. I will finish up putting in my income and then calculating the savings, but there are some numbers that I want to keep private. So that is how I track my money, and I have been doing that for at least 3 years. As you know, I like to do it on paper and I like to write it down. And at the end of the year, one sheet does not take up a lot of space, and I just have that in my folders. And what I think is very interesting is to see how you're spending, or how my spending changed over the years, and how my income changed, how my savings changed. So if I want to compare 2 years, I can just do that easily here. I can see whether my spending has increased. I can see whether I have fallen into lifestyle inflation. I see how my income has increased, and I can see how my retirement fund, how my different savings funds have increased and have been built up over the years. And that to me is very motivating to see. So that's why I like to keep track of my money. It really does help me to reach my money goals. So I hope you liked this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. My channel is all about making personal finance and money simple. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.